Hello everyone, this is David, mobile developer, and this is the second part of a tutorial series on managing Flutter State with the Provider package. In the first part, we learned how we can manage the state of our widgets from model classes that inherit from ChangeNotifier, as well as the use of ChangeNotifierProvider to be able to provide our widget tree with set classes. And finally, the use of the consumer class to be able to read these state changes and react to them. In this second part, we will delve into the following concepts. First, we'll see how to make multiple widgets react based on a single state provider. We will learn how to use Provider as a dependency injection framework. Finally, we will use MultiProvider to make our code more readable. If you want to learn how to manage state with Provider and haven't seen the first part yet, I suggest you to take a look at it. You can find the link in the video description. If you already saw it and are ready to continue learning, let's go. Let's start with the test app from the previous tutorial. I'm going to clone it, but you could also download it or fork it. You can find the link in the video description. What I want to achieve is to be able to keep the counter that we previously had and show it in different widgets. And I also want to be able to increase it from all of those widgets. First, copy my homepage widget into a new second counter.dart file and rename it to second counter. Now I will add a new button on the first screen to access this second screen. I will try to run the app now, and I will increment the counter in the first and the second screen. What's the result? Well, we have two screens and each one with an independent value, and that is not what we want. Why is this happening? Well, the reason is that we are actually creating two instances of main model, one in my homepage and a different one in second counter, each of which is provided to its descendant widgets via ChangeNotifierProvider. In order to have a unique count in the entire application, what we will have to do is move that ChangeNotifierProvider one level up until both screens hang from it. For example, we could place it just above my home page, in the class that wraps material app. Now, remove the ChangeNotifierProvider from my home page and second counter, so that the build methods directly returns the consumer. I will run the app again and try to increment the counts. You will see that now there is only one unique count. This is because there is only one main model instance, and any widget below the ChangeNotifierProvider that provides it can access it to consume its state. The next thing that we will learn is how to use Provider as a dependency injection framework. Dependency injection is a classic software development technique in which the dependencies of a class are injected from the outside instead of being created inside it. I could create several videos about this technique and its application, but in order to understand each other and to focus on the topic at hand, we're going to learn how to use Provider to create an instance and include it in the widget tree so that it can be used from anywhere in the app. To do this, I'm going to give an example of the logs package that I use, logger. What I want to do is create an instance and write a log trace when the counter is incremented on the first screen and also in the second screen. And I want that instance to be shared across the app. The first thing will be to install the package. I will do it by typing flutter pub-add logger in the terminal. We are now going to use the Provider class to accomplish this task. This is the basic class that gives this package its name. In fact, both ChangeNotifierProvider and other types of providers that we're going to see in this series of tutorials are variations or forms of this original class. As you can see, to make a whole for this new provider, what we do is chain one inside the other. Now, we're going to modify the floating action button of each screen to, in addition to increasing the count, print a log trace. Through this invocation, we are indicating that the type of the class we want to obtain is logger. We pass the current context, and we indicate listen to false. We'll see why this last argument has this value later in this tutorial series. For now, leave it set to false. As you can see, through the provider class you can provide the instances of classes that you want to any widget of your application. In the last part of this basic tutorial, I will teach you how to use MultiProvider. What we have seen today is very good and very useful, but note that normal applications do not have only 2 dependencies as we have in this example. They can have 5, 10, 100 or more different dependencies. Imagine how each of them will be included in the next one, as we have now in my app. It will be very difficult to maintain and read, and this is why MultiProvider exists. MultiProvider is a way to declare all of your providers in an array. Let's see it in action. Modify my app as follows. Each provider is an element of the array provided in the provider's argument, so your code will be much better organized. Each of the providers specified in that array will be available to your application, exactly as before. In this second tutorial, we have delved into the basic concepts of the provider package. We have seen how to manage state at different points using a single ChangeNotifier located at the top of the widget tree. We have also used provider to provide single instances to the application and have arranged all of our providers with MultiProvider. The provider package contains other providers that can make your life easier while developing. I will cover them in the following chapters of this tutorial series. If you have found this video useful, please leave a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you want to be notified about upcoming tutorial chapters and other topics related to Flutter and mobile development in general. You can find the link to the final app of this tutorial in the video description. Thank you for watching and happy coding!